Okay, The Legend of Grimrock 2 by Almost Human Games came out in 2015. Uh, at the time, I was surprised. I thought the original Legend of Grimrock was flash in the pan nostalgic magic, but they came back around for another hit. I don't know what happened to Almost Human Games. I haven't heard anything from them in a while. They probably still exist in some capacity, but I very much doubt there's ever going to be a Grimrock 3. Uh, so even though this game has been out for like 7, pushing 8 years, it's one of my favorites. So I'm going to do a LP. I'm not going to touch custom content, just sticking entirely to the official campaign. I am familiar with this game. This is not going to be a blind playthrough. I know what I'm doing. As such, I will create my own characters. The default characters are okay, but not great. And I don't really like old school mode, Iron Man mode, or single use crystals. These are a bunch of challenge options that I'm not interested in. Oh man, class creation. You could spend an eon here. It's like the best part of the game. Looking at races. I think I'm just gonna go 4 lizards. For whatever reason, devs decided that there should just be one race with the absolute best traits by a mile. And passives. And I like playing as them. They're cool. Okay, so everybody in the party is going to get Endure Elements. Combined with their passive puts them at around 50 resistance to magic, which means an elemental shield of any type or just stacking a little bit of resistance can make them immune, which is pretty handy when the whole party is immune to an element. Lizardmen also come with fast metabolism, which a lot of people misunderstand and think is a bad. They think fast metabolism hurts your nutrition economy. It really only helps it. The less time everybody else in the party has to stand around waiting for you to get your stamina back, the less nutrition they waste. So if your mage is regenerating his mana pool faster, the rest of the party isn't wasting their energy waiting for him. So that's what I'm going to do with my back row. There are going to be 2 people who use mana. And for my front row, I'm a huge fan of evasive. That's the equivalence of 5 points of dex worth of dodge chance. That's really, really good. Get some character icons going. What do I have? I got some Ninja Turtles up here. Okay. That's perfect. Let's get the Turtle Squad going on. Where's Raph? You. Don will be our mage because he's supposed to be a smart guy. We'll have Leo be a 2-hander user. That makes sense. Okay, the party's coming together in my mind. I'm realizing what I want. Alright, classes. I love Barbarian. Barbarian is just too good. Huge amount of stam, huge amount of strength. Everything you could ever want. Somebody has to be the alchemist. It's definitely going to be my mage. When it comes to mages in Grimrock, mages are really weird. In fact, Grimrock itself is just obscenely weird. Traditionally, the mage is this weakling who, by the end of the game, is God. That's the fantasy genre thing that's in every single fantasy game ever. In Grimrock, your mage starts pretty powerful. He's probably the most powerful guy in your party. And then by mid-game, he's the worst guy in your party. And settles into just a utility role of casting light and invisibility. And using magical cantrips with his concentration skills. Wow. Went on a little bit of a tangent. When it comes to which class to pick for a mage, your options are Battle Mage, Wizard, and Alchemist. But Alchemist is by far the best. For almost every class in the game, actually. The ability to produce mana potions will net them more energy than any of the additional willpower or energy per level you get from the Battle Mage or Wizard classes, while also providing the party with incredibly useful alchemy stuff. The downside of starting as an alchemist, as your wizard, is you're not going to have magic during the tutorial, because you need an instrument to cast magic, and there is no magic instrument in the tutorial. The first one is almost immediately outside of it. But that's okay. There are alternate methods for us to pull that off. So we're definitely going to go with a Lizardman Alchemist. Fast metabolism for good stamina. As a wizard, he's not going to need strength or dexterity, so let's go vitality and willpower, increase his health pool and mana battery. In Grimrock, willpower increases your mana regen, but by an absolutely negligible amount. Willpower really exists to just increase the maximum amount of energy you have. When it comes to mana regeneration, fast metabolism and items are just way, way more efficient at doing that task. And let's get him set up for concentration. And air magic. I mean, I guess I should talk about the different magic pools. Most people will start the game by playing as a fire mage, and I totally agree. It's good. Once you get your fire magic up to, I think, rank 3, your fire burst spell puts enemies on fire, which makes it probably the mage's most mana efficient means of dealing damage. It's so much better mana-wise than Fireball, which is the tier 2 fire spell, that I probably go through the game with the vast majority of my spellcasts being Fire Burst. However, my opinion of mages in this game has changed as I've learned more about it, and dealing damage with a mage isn't really the mage's goal, in my opinion. Air magic is good. It doesn't put a dot on enemies when you deal lightning damage, but air magic has the invisibility spell, which in my opinion, if you're looking to play the game efficiently, is basically just shoehorning air magic as top tier. Like, if you play any other type of mage, you're losing out on the best spell that mages have for utility. You do eventually find a staff that will cast invisibility on the party. I don't remember if it has limited charges or not, but I do know that it's found very, very late in the game, and I like to have invisibility right quick, and I really use it a lot. Earth magic is shit. There's just no other way of saying it. I have tried making a full party of... I think the reason I have the Ninja Turtles loaded up is because I wanted to make a full party of poison immune, poison mages that just put poison spells everywhere, but it was so bad. I think during the game's development, if you look at the patch notes, poison may have been slightly decent at one point, but it was heavily nerfed for whatever reason, and at that point development of the game stopped, and it released or whatever. and it was never fixed. Like, it was just nerfed into a complete oblivion. Any other mage spell hits for like hundreds, or like 100 with a crit that can go even higher. Well, Earth Magic, you'll just be seeing it tick for 1 damage. It does have a little bit of utility in that it is the only way in the game to attack somebody on the other side of like a cell, bars, with the Poison Mist spell, but it's so incredibly underwhelming that it's an absolute waste of time, both offensively and defensively. Water Magic, if you spec Water Magic, you get access to the Dispel spell, which is useful against a specific enemy type in the game, but there are many different alternatives to dealing with that enemy if you know them. So you can circumvent the need for Water Magic that way. Water Magic does less damage than fire or lightning, but comes with a small chance of freezing the enemy. This is extremely inconsistent in my opinion. It does have the advantage that its Ice Shards spell can hit multiple targets if they're in front of you in a line. But, like I said earlier, mages aren't really the best at dealing damage. Defensively, Water Magic is a great pick, especially for this party. If I was to get level 3 Water Magic and level 3 Concentration, I could cast Water Shield, and the entire party would be immune to water damage. And there are a lot of water elementals in the game. But that isn't worth losing invisibility. So we're going to be going Air Magic Concentration, get invisibility, and then pump Alchemy to 5. When it comes to freezing people, at that note, Frost Bombs are very, very easy to craft, especially when you have an Alchemist in your party who's the Alchemist class. There's both Alchemy skills and class. So my party will just passively, as I walk around, produce the materials needed to make Frost Bombs. And Frost Bombs have a 100% chance of freezing enemies. So, like, the Alchemist class does what the Water Magic skill does, but better just by itself. Very top tier. I don't think I have anything more to say about the Mage, other than to name him Dawn. Alright, so I lied. Someone in your party has to have a little bit of concentration, both to cast light and to use items. And that's going to be my mage, because the concentration increases the mana pool, it unlocks spells. Consequently, there are certain items in the game that require certain amounts of concentration to use. So this mage role will be filling both the role of my alchemist and my item user. So this guy's just getting a lot done. That means that this guy can be pretty much whatever I want for my other back row character. I could do marksman so that I can put enemies to sleep with sleep darts. I could go throne if I want to waste my time, or guns if I'm deliberately trying to challenge myself by playing the game on hard mode. Or my personal favorite is to go two-handed weapons, or rather heavy weapons. Heavy weapons, they scale almost entirely on the weapon skill itself, and not on strength. So you don't need any strength, really. And the vast majority of the value of a heavy weapon comes from its skill, which means, for all intents and purposes, heavy weapon users are melee mages. They convert energy into dealing damage, which means we need willpower. And now I need to do a little bit of mental gymnastics and realize how I want to spend the rest of my stats, because we need 2 points in accuracy to unlock being able to attack from the back row. So until this guy reaches level 2, he won't be doing much in the party, shy of just like throwing darts uselessly. My goal accuracy is 35. This game's mechanics are extremely obtuse, And I had to do a lot of forum lurking to figure out how exactly evasion works. I learned that evasion 0 does not mean you have 0 dodge chance. Not even close. It's like true 0 dodge chance happens at like -20, and it changes depending on what difficulty you're at, which is very deceptive. But I believe the developers of this game deliberately made it deceptive because they like the idea that players shouldn't be able to min-max this hard. But I'm autistic, so I'm going to min-max, and I'm going to systematically rip your game apart to find out how to if you try to hide the information from me. I'm not going to appreciate it, but I'm going to do it because if I like the game, I need to know. I need to know how it works. And here we are, talking about it. Anyway, I got on a tangent again. I'm going to do that a lot. Accuracy. Turns out the sweet spot, the magic number is 35. On my first playthrough of the game, I leveled anybody who accuracy was relevant to 5 out of 5. Way over hit cap. But the game doesn't tell you what hit cap is. It's 35 for like the vast majority of enemies in the game and 45 for 2 or 3 of them. So it's 35 is the magic number. So with 2 points in accuracy, that'll bring us up to 24, and then somebody else is going to become party leader. So we are going to need more decks. Perfect. Absolutely perfect. That'll bring us up to 36 when someone else is the party leader. That does mean he's got a little bit of less health than our back row alchemist, but that's okay because fighters have a higher health gain per level. So they'll eventually equal out. And when it comes to your back row, you're most concerned about your elemental resistances than things like armor or evasion. And these guys are good. They take half damage, which means their effective health pool is twice as large as it appears to be. They will occasionally get smacked from the side or the back and take physical damage, and I'll have to watch out for that, but that's a gameplay error. That's human error. So it'll all work out in the end. Alright, let me just double check these guys, make sure I didn't forget something like, naming them. Oh yeah, I guess I should talk about the fighter class. Personally, I believe that the fighter class is a back row character. In the front row, the barbarian is just way, way better. It is in no way worth increasing your energy efficiency and speed of performing power attacks at the cost of losing a huge amount of health and health per level and strength. But as in the back row, it just makes for a super efficient character who uses mana to deal damage, which compared to the mage, back to what I was saying earlier about traditional fantasy archetypes being flipped on their head, because this game is very weird, mages eventually become weak, but start the game out fairly strong. They have access to their kit immediately. As soon as he has the skill to perform a spell, he can perform it. Whereas fighters, their spells are attached to their weapon. So as you progress through the game, you get more and more powerful abilities, with the best spell being Cleave. So any weapon that has Cleave we're going to cling to, and we're going to constantly be looking for the best one that has it. This means that at the start of the game, our heavy weapons guy is going to be one of our most useless characters, and he's quickly going to become one of the best. With his ability to spend 25% less energy, that sounds good, but he's only starts the game with 30 and gets only 3 per level. So he really needs that in order to be able to do anything without running his battery dry super fast. Consequently, any energy gains the fighter gets are 25% more efficient. If I increase this guy's energy by 5, I'm really increasing it by like 6.25. So like a shield that increases energy, a ring that increases energy regen, a necklace that increases energy, like all of that stuff is going straight to this guy. He'll be the recipient of all plus energy stuff. And he'll need it, because with his pathetic 30 energy and 3 per level, he's not going to be able to perform many power attacks otherwise. And when you're comparing fighters to barbarians, you have to consider the value of strength. Strength is extremely negligible for heavy weapons users and extremely important for light weapon users, which are what both of my front row characters are going to be. Furthermore, strength is only really useful in very large quantities, and you get very large quantities by using your alchemist to produce rage potions, or bear potions, or whatever. Consumables, basically. So, static gains in strength and dex are extremely limited and not very useful at all. It's not going to have an impact on an impactful effect on your gameplay. So, what am I even talking about? Next character. Jeez. Wrath. Okay, Lizardman Barbarian. I'm not going to spec strength because he's going to get as much strength as he needs from his class. Huge fan of dexterity, especially on front row characters. Not only am I increasing their accuracy by 2 per point, I'm also increasing their dodge chance by 1 per point, which is pretty huge. And now I get to choose between vitality and willpower. We're already going to be getting a ton of health from being barbarians, and vitality will only give us 25 more HP. But our energy pool is going to be extremely small throughout the entire game, so starting with more energy now would be good. More energy will allow us to hold our breath longer underwater. It'll let us stay in bear form longer. It will, and allow, of course, let us use more power attacks. Although the front row characters aren't necessarily going to be designed around doing power attacks. Yeah. We still will use power attacks at the beginning of the game when our weapons are bad and we have to rely on it to do any sort of real damage. Let's mirror everything we just did on the other guy onto this guy. Dex, willpower. So, like, I'm weird. Most people who would put a barbarian in the front row will go strength vit, when I'm instead compensating for their weaknesses by going dex will, and I think that evolves in a considerably better, more rounded character. Alright, both of these guys are going to be light weapons users, and light weapons users, you never want to spec accuracy on. Not only do light weapons come with a strong amount of accuracy by default, light weapon users are also the most skilled dependent class in the game. In order for their full kit utility to be unlocked, they need 5 out of 5 light weapons and 5 out of 5 critical to be able to backstab with the good stuff. The stuff that actually scales with strength pots. So these guys are going to be level 9 before they can even do what you design them to do. What's worse is in the front row, I'm going to want one guy to be spec'd for armor. And I'm going to use all of my skill books to help make this happen. There are, I think 3 skill books scattered throughout the game, 2 in the early game, and then 1 that's in the castle at the end. So, with the help of those, I should be able to get this character to have 5 light weapons, 5 critical, and 4 armor. And we can get him set up with that crystal armor set. But at the start of the game, we'll go for the reed armor set and probably swap out to the mirror as it becomes available. Whereas this guy, he's just going to rush critical and ignore armor, and we're going to hit him up with the rogue armor set. This is Michelangelo. Don Leo. Let's looking at our party here. We got our light weapons critical guy, our light weapons armor guy, concentration air magic, and heavy weapons accuracy. I apologize for how much rambling and incoherent thought went into this. I'm trying to, like, get better at speaking my mind when I'm hyperfixating on something. I will segment the upload so that character creation is its own file, so you can just skip this nonsense if it's not your jam. Yeah, there, that's my party, and that's why I made it, and let's go.